Hello, today you are listening to Don't Forget to Remember Me, Never Never, from Colin Hoover and Taryn Fisher, the new book. This book is dedicated to everyone who isn't Sunday Colletti. Part 1. Charlie. A crash. Books fall to the speckled linoleum floor. They skid a few feet, wiggling in circles, and stop near feet. My feet, I don't recognize the black sandals or the red toenails, but they move when I tell them to, so they must be mine, right? A bell rings shrill. I jump, my heart racing, my eyes moved left to right as I scope out my argument, trying not to give myself away. What kind of bell was that? Where am I? Kids with backpacks walk briskly into the room, talking and laughing. A school bell, they slide into desks, their voices competing in volume. I see movement and my feet and jerk in surprise. Someone is bent over, gathering up books on the floor, a red-faced girl with glasses. Before they stand up, she looks up at me with something like fear and then scurries off. People are laughing. When I look around, I think they are laughing at me, but it's the girl with the glasses they are looking at. Charlie, someone calls. Didn't you see that? And then, Charlie, what's your problem? Hello. My heart is beating fast, so fast. Where is this? Why can't I remember? Charlie? Someone hisses. I look around. Who is Charlie? Which one is Charlie? There are so many kids, blonde hair, ruddy hair, brown hair, glasses, no glasses. A man walks in carrying a briefcase. He sets it on the desk. The teacher. I am in a classroom and that is the teacher. High school or college? I wonder. I stand up suddenly in the wrong place. Everyone is sitting but I'm standing walking. Where are you going, Miss Winwood? The teacher is looking at me over the rim of his glass as he riffles through the pile of papers. He slaps them down hard on the desk and I jump. I must be Miss Winwood. She has cramps. Someone calls out. People snicker. I feel a chill creep up my back and crawl across the top of my arms. They are laughing at me, except I don't know who these people are. I hear a girl's voice say, "Shut up, Michael." I don't know, I say, hearing my voice for the first time. It's too high. I clear my throat and try again. I don't know. I'm not supposed to be here. There is more laughing. I glance around at the posters on the wall, the faces of presidents animated with dates beneath them. History class? High school. The man the teacher tilts his head to the side like I have said the dumbest thing. And where else are you supposed to be on test today? I don't know. Sit down, he says. I don't know where I would go if I left. I turn around to go back. The girl with the glasses glances up at me as I pass her. She looks away almost as quickly. As soon as I'm sitting, the teacher starts handing out papers. He walks between desks, his voice a flat drone as he tells us what percentage of our final grade the test will be. He reaches my desk. He pauses, a deep crease between his eyebrows. I don't know what you are trying to pull. He presses the tip of a fat pointer finger on my desk. Whatever it is, I'm sick of it. One more cent and I'm sending you to the principal's office. He slaps the desk down in front of me and moves down the line. I don't nod. I don't do anything. I'm trying to decide what to do, announce this to the whole room that I have no idea who and where I am, or pull him aside and tell him quietly. He said no more stands. My eyes move to the paper in front of me. People are already bent over their tests, pencil scratching. Fourth period, history. Mr. Tulcott. There is a space for a name. I'm supposed to write my name, but I don't know what my name is. Miss Winwood, he called me. Why don't I recognize my own name or where I am or what I am? Every head is bent over their papers except mine. So I sit and stare straight ahead. Mr. Talcott glares at me from his desk. The longer I sit, the redder his face becomes. Time passes and yet my word has stopped. Eventually, Mr. Talcott stands up, his mouth open to say something to me when the bell rings. Put your paper on my desk on the way out, he says, his eyes still on my face. Everyone is feeling out of the door. I stand up and follow them because I don't know what else to do. I keep my eyes on the floor, but I can feel his rage. I don't understand why he's so angry with me. I am in the hallway now, lined on either side by blue lockers. Charlie, someone calls. Charlie, wake up! A second later, an arm loops through mine. I accept it to be the girl with the glasses. I don't know why it's not, but I know now that I am Charlie Winwood. You forgot your bag, she says, handing over a white backpack. I take it from her, wondering if there is a wallet with a driver's license inside. She keeps her arm looped through mine as we walk. She is shorter than me with long dark hair and dewy brown eyes that take up half her face. She is startling and beautiful. You acted so weird in there, she asks. You knocked the shrimp's books on the floor and then spaced out. I can smell her perfume. It's familiar and too sweet, like a million flowers competing for attention. I think of the girl with the glasses, the look on her face as she bent to scoop up her books. If I did that, why don't I remember? It's lunch. Why are you walking that way? She puts me down. Different corridor past more students, then all look at me. Little glances. I wonder if they know me and why I don't know and why I don't know me. I don't know why I don't tell her, tell Mr. Ducott. Grab someone random and tell them that I don't know who or where I am. By the time I'm seriously entertaining the idea we are through a set of double doors in the cafeteria. Noise and color bodies that all have a unique bright fluorescence lights and make everything look ugly. Oh God, I clutch at my shirt. The girl on my arm is babbling Andrew this, Marcy that she likes Andrew and hates Marcy. I don't know who either of them is. She corrals me to the food line. We get salad and date cokes. Then we are sliding our trays on a table. There are already people sitting there, 4 boys, 2 girls. I realize we are completing a group with even numbers. All the girls are matched with a guy. Everyone looks up at me expectantly. like I'm supposed to say something, do something. The only place left to sit is next to a guy with dark hair. I sit slowly, both hands flat on the table. His eyes start toward me and then he bends over his tray of food. I can see the finest beads of sweat on his forehead, just below his hairline. You two are so awkward sometimes, says a new girl, blonde across from me. She's looking from me to the guy I'm sitting next to. He looks up from his macaroni and realizes he's just moving things around on his plate. He hasn't taken a bit, despite how busy he looks. He looks at me and I look at him. Then we both look back at the blonde girl. Did something happen that we should know about? She asks. No, we say in unison. He's my boyfriend. I know by the way they are treating us. He suddenly smiles at me with his brilliantly white teeth and reaches to put an arm around my shoulders. We are all good, he says, squeezing my arm. I automatically stiffen, but when I see the 6 sets of eyes on my face, I lean in and play along. It's frightening not knowing who you are. Even frightening thinking you will get it wrong. I'm scared now, really scared. It's gone too far. If I say something now, I will look crazy. His affection seems to make everyone relax. Everyone expect him. They go back to talking, but all the words blend together. Football, a party, more football. The guy sitting next to me laughs and joins in with their conversation. His arm never straying from my shoulders. They called him Silas. They call me Charlie. The dark-haired girl with the big eyes is Annika. I forget everyone else's name in the noise. Lunch is finally over, and we all get up. I walk next to Sila, or rather, he walks next to me. I have no idea where I'm going. Annika flanks my free side, widening her arms through mine and chatting about cheerleading practice. She is making me feel claustrophobic. When we reach an annex in the hallway, I lean over and speak to her so only she can hear. Can you walk me to my next class? Her face becomes serious. She breaks away to say something to her boyfriend, and then our arms are looped again. I turn to Sila. Annika is going to walk me to my next class. Okay, he says. He looks relieved. I will see you later. He hits off in the opposite direction. Annika turns to me as soon as he is out of sight. Where is he going? I shrug. To class. She takes her head like she is confused. I don't get you guys. One day you are all over each other, the next you are acting like you can't stand to be in the same room. You really need to make a decision about him, Charlie. She stops outside a doorway. This is me, I say to see if she will protest. She doesn't. Call me later, she says. I want to know about last night. I nod. When she disappears into the sea of faces, I step into the classroom. I don't know where to sit, so I wander through to the back row and slide into a window. I'm early, so I open my backpack. There is wallet wedged between a couple of notebooks and a makeup bag. I pull it out and flip it open to reveal a driver's license. with a picture of a beaming, dark-haired girl, me. Charlie's Margaret Winwood, 2417 Hawkhouse Way, New Orleans, Los Angeles. I'm 17. My birthday is March 21st. I live in Louisiana. I study the picture in the top left corner and I don't recognize the face. It's my face, but I have never seen it. I'm pretty. I only have $28. The seats are filling up. The one beside me stays empty. Almost like everyone is too afraid to sit there. I'm in a Spanish class. The teacher is pretty and young. Her name is Mr. Cardona. She doesn't look at me like she hates me, like so many other people are looking at me. We start with tenses. I have no past. I have no past. 5 minutes into class, the door opens. Sila walks in, his eyes downcast. I think he is here to tell me something or to bring me something. I brace myself ready to pretend, but Mrs. Cardona comments jokingly about his lateness. He takes the only available seat next to me and stares straight ahead. I stare at him. I don't stop staring at him until finally he turns his head to look at me. A line of sweat rolls down the side of his face. His eyes are wide just like mine. Chapter 2. Sila. 3 hours. It's been almost 3 hours and my mind is still in a haze. No, not a haze, not even a dense fog. It feels as if I'm wandering around in a pitch-black room, searching for the light switch. You okay? Charlie asks. I have been staring at her for several seconds, attempting to gain some semblance of familiarity from a face that should apparently be the most familiar to me. Nothing. She looks down at her desk and her thick black hair falls between us like blinders. I want a better look at her. I need something to grab me, something familiar. I want to predict a birthmark or freckle on her before I see it. Because I need something recognizable. I will grasp at any piece of her that might convince me I'm not losing my mind. She reaches her hand up finally and tucks her hand behind her ear. She looks up at me though two wide and completely unfamiliar eyes. The crease between her brows deepens and she begins beating at the pad of her thumb. She is worried about me, about us maybe. Us. I want to ask her if she knows what might have happened to me, but I don't want to scare her. How do I explain that I don't know her? How do I explain this to anyone? I have spent the last 3 hours trying to act natural. At first, I was convinced that I must have used some kind of illegal substance that caused me to black out. But this is different from blacking out. This is different from being high or drunk, and I have no idea how I even know that. I don't remember anything beyond 3 hours ago. Hey, Charlie reaches out like she's going to touch me, then draws back. Are you okay? I grip the sleeve of my shirt and wipe the sheen of moisture off my forehead. When she glances back up at me, I see the concern still filling her eyes. I force my lips to form a smile. I'm fine, I mutter. Long night. As soon as I say it, I cringe. I have no idea what kind of night I had. And if this girl sitting across from me really is my girlfriend, then a sentence like that probably isn't very reassuring. I see a small twitch in her eye, and she tilts her head. Why was it a long night? Shit. See. The voice comes from the front of the room. I look up. No talking, the teacher says. She returns to her instruction, not too concerned with my reaction to being singled out. I glance back at Charlie briefly and then immediately stare down at my desk. My fingers trace over names carved into the wood. Charlie is still staring at me, but I don't look at her. I flip my hand over and I run two fingers over the calluses across the inside of my palm. Do I work? Mallows for a living? Maybe it's from football. During lunch, I decided to use my time to observe everyone around me, and I learned I have football practice this afternoon. I have no idea what time or where, but I have somehow made it through the last few hours without knowing where or when I'm supposed to be. I may not have any sort of recollection right now, but I'm learning that I am very good at faking it. Too good, maybe. I flip my other hand over and flip the same roof colossus on that palm. Maybe I live on a farm. No, I don't. I don't know how I know, but even without being able to recall anything, I seem to have an immediate sense of what assumptions of mine are accurate and which are not. It could just be a process of elimination rather than intuition or memory. For example, I don't feel like someone who lives on a farm would be wearing the clothes I have on. Nice clothes, trendy. Looking down at my shoes, if someone asked me if I have rich parents, I would tell them, yes, I do. And I don't know how because I don't remember my parents. I don't know where I live, who I live with, or if I look more like my mother or my father. I don't even know. I don't I don't know I don't even know what I look like. I stand abruptly, shoving the desk a few loud inches forward. In the process, everyone in the class turns to face me other than Charlie because she hasn't stopped staring at me since I sat down. Her eyes aren't inquisitive or kind. Her eyes are accusing. The teacher glares at me but doesn't seem at all surprised by the loss of everyone's attention to me. She just stands complacent, waiting for me to announce my reason for the student disruption. I swallow. Bedroom. My lips are sticky, my mouth is dry, my mind is wrecked. I don't wait for permission before I begin to head in that direction. I can feel everyone's stares as I push through the door. I go right and make it to the end of the hall without finding a restroom. I backtrack and pass by my classroom door, continue until I round the corner and find the restroom. Push open the door, hoping for solitude, but someone is standing at the urinal with his back to me. I turn to the sink but don't look into the mirror. I stare down at the sink, placing my hands on either side of it, grabbing tightly, and I inhale. If I would just look at myself, my reflection would could trigger a memory, or maybe just give me a small sense of recognition, something, anything. The guy who was standing at the funeral seconds before is now standing next to me, leaning against the sink with his arms folded. When I glance over at him, he is glaring at me. His hair is so blonde, it's almost white. His skin is so pale. It reminds me of a jellyfish, translucent almost. I can remember what jellyfish look like, but I have no idea what I will find when I look at myself in the mirror. You look like shit, Nash, he says with a smirk. Nash? Everyone else has been calling me Sila. Nash must be my last name. Check my wallet, but there isn't one in my pocket. Just a wad of cash. A wallet is one of the first things I looked for after it happened. Not feeling too hot, I grumble in response. For a few seconds, the guy doesn't respond. He just continues to stare at me at the same way Charlie was staring at me in class, but with less concern and way more contentment. The guy smirks and pushes off the sink. He stands up straight, but it is still about an inch shy of reaching my hay. He takes a step forward, and I gather by the look in his eye that isn't closing in on me out of concern for my health. We still haven't settled Friday night. The guy says to me, "Is that why you are here now?" His nostrils flare when he speaks and his hand drops to his sides, clenching and unclenching twice. I have a 2-second silent debate with myself, aware that if I step away from him, it will make me look like a coward. However, I'm also aware that if I step forward, I will be challenging him to something I don't want to deal with right now. He obviously has issues with me, and whatever it was that I chose to do Friday night that pissed him off, I compromise by giving him no reaction whatsoever. Look unaffected. I lazily move my attention to the sink and turn one of the knobs until a stream of water begins to pour from the faucet. Save it for the field, I say. I immediately want to take back those words. I hadn't considered he might not even play football. I assumed he did based on his size, but if he doesn't, my comment will have not made a damn bit of sense. I hold my breath and wait for him to correct me or call me out. Neither of those things happens. He stares for a few more seconds and then he shoulders past me purposefully, bumping me on his way out the door. I cup my hands under the stream of water and take a sip. I wipe my mouth with the back of my hand and glance up at myself at Sila Nash. What the hell kind of name is that anyway? I'm staring emotionless into a pair of unfamiliar dark eyes. I feel as though I'm staring at two eyes I have never seen before. Despite the fact that I have more than likely looked at these eyes on a daily basis since I was old enough to reach a mirror. I'm as familiar with this person in the reflection as I am with the girl who is, according to some guy named Andrew, the girl have been banging for 2 years now. I'm as with this person in the reflection as I am with every single aspect of my life right now, which is not familiar at all. Who are you? I whispered to him. The bedroom door begins to open slowly, and my eyes move from my reflection to the reflection of the door. A hand appears, gripping the door. I recognize the sleek red polish of the tips of her fingers. The girl I have been banging for more than 2 years. Sila? I stand up straight and turn to face the door full on as she peeks around it. When her eyes meet mine, it's only for 2 seconds. She glances away, scanning the rest of the bedroom. It's just me, I say. She nods and makes it the rest of the way through the door, albeit extremely hesitantly. I wish I knew how to assure her that everything is okay so she won't grow suspicious. I also wish I remembered her or anything about our relationship because I want to tell her. I need to tell her. I need for someone else to know so that I can questions. But how does a guy tell his girlfriend he has no idea who she is? Who he himself is? He doesn't tell her, he pretends just like he is been pretending with everyone else. 100 silent questions fill her eyes at once, and I immediately want to dodge them all. I'm fine, Charlie. I smile at her, because it feels like something I should do. Just not feeling so hot. Go back to class. She doesn't move, she doesn't smile. She stares where she is, unaffected by my instruction. She reminds me of one of those animals on springs you would ride on a playground. The kind you push, but they just bounce right back up. I feel like if someone were to shove her shoulders, she would lean straight back, feet in place, and then bounce right back up again. I don't remember what those things are called, but I do make a mental note that I somehow remember them. I have made a lot of mental notes in the last 3 hours. I am a senior. My name is Sila. Nash might be my last name. My girlfriend's name is Charlie. I play football. I know what jellyfish look like. Charlie tilts her head and the corner of her mouth twitches slightly. Her lips part, and for a moment, all I hear are nervous breaths. When she finally forms words, I want to hide from them. I want to tell her to close her eyes and count to 20 until I'm too far to hear her questions. What's my last name, Sila? Her voice is like smoke, soft and wispy and then gone. I can't tell if she is extremely intuitive or if I'm doing a horrible job of covering up the fact that I know nothing. For moments, I debate whether or not I should tell her. If I tell her and she believes me, she might be able to answer a lot of questions I have. But if I tell her and she doesn't believe me, babe, I say with a dismissive laugh. Do I call her babe? What kind of question is that? She lifts the foot I was positive was stuck to the floor, and she takes a step forward. She takes another. She continues toward me until she is about a foot away, close enough that I can smell her. Lilies. She smells like lilies, and I don't know how I can possibly remember what lily smells like. But somehow, not remember the actual person standing in front of me who smells like them. Her eyes haven't left mine, not even once. Sila, she says. What's my last name? I work my jaw back and forth and then turn around to face the sink again. I lean forward and grip it tightly with both hands. I slowly lift my eyes until they meet hers in the reflection. Your last name. My mouth is dry again and my words come out scratchy. She waits. I look away from her and back at the eyes of the unfamiliar guy in the mirror. I can't remember. She disappears from the reflection, followed immediately by a loud smack. It reminds me of the sound the fish make at big place markets when they toss and catch them in the wax paper. Smack. I spin around and she is lying on the tile floor. Eyes closed, arms splayed out. I immediately kneel down and lift her head, but as soon as I have her elevated several inches off the floor, her eyelids begin to flutter open. Charlie? She shakes in a rush of air and sits up. She pulls herself out of my arms and shoves me away. Almost if she is afraid of me, I keep my hands positioned near her in case she attempts to stand, but she doesn't. She remains seated on the floor with her palms pressed into the tile. You passed out? I tell her. She frowns at me. I am aware of that. I don't speak again. I should probably know what all her expressions mean, but I don't. I don't know if she's scared or angry or I am confused, she says, shaking her head. Can you? She pauses and then makes an attempt to stand. I stand with her, but I can tell she does this by the way she glares at me, at my hands that are slightly lifted, waiting to catch her should she start to fall again. She takes 2 steps away from me and crosses an arm over her chest. She brings her opposite hand up and begins chewing on the pad of her thumb again. She studies me quietly for a moment and then pulls her thumb from her mouth, making a fist. You didn't know we had class together after lunch. Her words are spoken with a layer of accusation. You don't know my last name. I shake my head, admitting to the 2 things I can't deny. What can you remember? She asks. She's scared, suspicious. Our emotions are reflections of one another, and that's when the clarity hits. She may not feel familiar. I may not feel familiar, but our actions, our demeanor, they are exactly the same. What do I remember? I repeat her question in an attempt to buy myself a few more seconds to allow my suspicions to gain footing. She waits for my answer. History, I say, attempting to remember as far back as I can. Books. I saw a girl drop her books. I grab my neck again and squeeze. Oh God, she takes a quick step toward me. That's the first thing I remember. My heart jumps to my throat. She begins to shake her head. I don't like this. It doesn't make sense. She appears calmer than I feel. Her voice is steady. The only fear I see is in the stretched whites of her eyes. I pull her to me without thinking, but I think it's more for my own leave rather than to put her at ease. She doesn't pull away, and for a second I wonder if this is normal for us. I wonder if we are in love. I tighten my hold until I feel her stiffen against me. We need to figure this out, she says, separating herself from me. My first instinct is to tell her it will be okay, that I will figure it out. I'm flooded with an overwhelming need to protect her, only I have no idea how to do that when we are both experiencing the same reality. The bell rings, signaling the end of Spanish. Within seconds, the bedroom door will probably open, lockers will be slamming shut. We will have to figure out what classes we are supposed to be in next. I take her hand and pull her behind me as I push her open the bedroom door. Where are we going? She asks. I look at her over my shoulder and shrug. I have no idea. I just know I want to leave. Chapter 3. Charlie. This dude, this guy Sila, he grabs my hand like he knows me and drags me behind him like I'm a little kid, and that's what I feel like, a little kid in a big, big world. I don't understand anything, and I most certainly don't recognize anything. All I can think as he pulls me through the understand halls of some anonymous high school is that I fainted, keeled over like some damsel in distress, and on the boys' barroom floor, filthy. I'm evaluating my priorities, wondering how my brain can fit germs into the equation when I clearly have a much larger problem. When we burst into the sunlight, I shield my eyes with my free hand as the Sila dude pulls keys from his backpack. He holds them above his head and makes a circle, clicking the alarm button on his key fob from some far corner of the parking lot. We hear the screech of an alarm. We run for it, our shoes slapping the concrete with urgency, as if someone is chasing us, and they might be. The car turns out to be an SUV. I know it's impressive because it sits above the other cars, making them look small and insignificant. A Land Rover. Silas is either driving his dad's car or floating in his. Maybe he doesn't have a dad. He wouldn't be able to tell me anyway. And how do I even know how much a car like this costs? I have memories of how things work, a car, the rules of the road, the presidents, but not of who I am. He opens the door for me while looking over his shoulder toward the school, and I get the feeling I'm being pranked. He could be responsible for this. He could have given me something to cause me to lose my memory temporarily, and now he's only pretending. Is this for real? I asked, suspended above the front seat. You don't know who you are? No, he says. I don't. I believe him. Kind of. I sink into my seat. He reaches my eyes for a moment longer before slamming my door and running around to the driver's side. I feel rough, like after a night of drinking. Do I drink? My license said I was only 17. I show on my dump as he clamps and starts the engine by pressing the button. How would you know how to do that? I asked. Do what? Start the car without a key. I don't know. I watched his face as we pulled out of the stop of the spot. He blinks a lot, glances at me more, runs a tongue over his bottom lip. When we are at a stoplight, he finds the home button on the GPS and hits it. I'm impressed that he don't do that to do that. Redirection. A woman's voice says, I want to lose it, jump out of the moving car and run like a frightened deer. I am so afraid. His home is large. There are no cars in the driveway as we linger on the curb, the engine purring quietly. Are you sure this is here? I ask. He shrugs. Doesn't look like anyone is home, he says. Should we? I nod. I shouldn't be hungry, but I am. I want to go inside and have something to eat, maybe research our symptoms and see if we have come in contact with some brain eating bacteria that's stolen our memories. A house like this should have a couple of laptops lying around. Scylla turns into the driveway and parks. We climb out timidly, looking around at the shrubs and trees like they are going to come alive. He finds a key on his key ring that opened the front door. As I stand behind him and wait, I study him in his clothes and hair. He wears the cool look of a guy who doesn't care, but he carries his shoulders like he cares too much. He also smells like the outside, grass and pine and rich black dirt. He's about to turn the knob. Wait! He turned around slowly, despite the urgency in my voice. What if there is someone in there? He grins, or maybe it's a grimace. Maybe they can tell us what the hell is happening. Then we are inside. We stand immobile for a minute. Looking around, I cower behind Scylla like a wimp. It's not cold, but I'm shivering. Everything is heavy and impressive. The furniture, the air, my book bag, which hangs off my shoulder like dead weights. Scylla moves forward. I grab onto the back of his shirt as we skirt through the foyer and into the family room. We move from room to room, stopping to examine the photos on the walls. Two smiling, sun-kissed parents with their arms around two smiling, dark-haired boys. The ocean in the background. You have a little brother, I say. Did you know you have a little brother? He shakes his head no. The smile in the photos become more scarce as Scylla and his mini-me brother get older. There is plenty of acne and braces, photos of parents who are trying too hard to be cheerful as they pull stiff-shouldered boys toward them. We move to the bedrooms. The bathrooms? We pick up books, read the labels on brown prescription bottles. We find in medicine cabinets his mother keeps dried flower all over the house, pressed into the book on her nightstand, in her makeup drawer, and lined up on the shelves in their bedroom. I touch each one, whispering their names under my breath. I remember all the names of the flowers, For some reason, this makes me giggle. Sila stops short when he walks into his parents' bedroom and finds me bent over laughing. I'm sorry, I say. I had a moment. What kind of moment? A moment where I realized that I have forgotten everything in the world about myself, but I know what is hyacinth is. He nods. Yeah. He looks down at his hand creases forming on his forehead. Do you think we should tell someone? Go to a hospital, maybe? Do you think they would believe us? I ask. We stare at each other then, and I hold back the urge once again to ask if I'm being pranked. This isn't a prank, it's too real. We move to his father's study next, scurrying over papers and looking in drawers. There is nothing to tell us why we are like this, nothing out of the ordinary. I keep a close watch on him from the corner of my eye. If this is a prank, he is a very good actor. Maybe this is an experiment. I think I'm part of some psychological government experiment and I'm going to wake up in a lab. Sila watches me too. I see his eyes darting over me, wondering, assessing. We don't speak much, just look at this, or do you think this is something? We are strangers, and there are few words between us. Sila's room is last. He clutched my hand as we enter, and I let him because I'm staring. I'm starting to feel lightheaded again. The first thing I see is a photo. Is a photo of us on his desk. I am wearing a costume, a too short leopard print tutu, and black angel wings that spread elegantly behind me. My eyes are lined with thick, glittery lashes. Sila is dressed in all white with white angel wings. He looks handsome. Good versus evil, I think. Is it the sort of life game we played? He glances at me and raises his eyebrows. Poor costume choice, I shrug. He cracks a smile, and then we move to opposite side of the room. I lift my eyes to walls where there are framed photos of people, a homeless man slouched against a wall holding a blanket around himself, a woman sitting on a bench crying into her hands, a fortune teller, her hand clamped around her own neck as she looks into the camera lens with empty eyes. The photos are morbid. They make me want to turn away, feel ashamed. I don't understand why anyone would want to take a photo of such morbidly sad things. Never mind, hang them on their walls to look at every day. And then I turn and see the expensive camera perched on the desk. It is in a place of honor, sitting atop a pile of glossy photography books. I look over to where Sila is also studying the photos. An artist is this his work? Is he trying to recognize it? No point in asking. I move on, look at his clothes, look in the drawers, in the rich mahogany desk. I'm so tired. I make to sit down in the desk, but he is suddenly animated, beckoning me over. Look at this, he says. I get up slowly and walk to his side. He's staring down at his inmate bed. His eyes are bright and, should I say, shocked. I followed them to his sheets, and then my blood runs cold. Oh my God. Chapter 4. Sila. I toss the comforter out of the way to get a better look at the mess at the foot of the bed. Smears of mud caked into the sheet, dried, pieces of it crack and roll away when I pull the sheet out. Is that? Charlie stops speaking and puts the corner of the top sheet from my hand, tossing it away to get a better look at the fitted sheet beneath it. Is that blood? I follow her eyes up the sheet toward her head of the bed. Next to the pillow is smeared ghost of a handprint. I immediately look down at my hands. Nothing. No trace of blood or mud whatsoever. I kneel down beside the bed and place my right hand over the handprint left on the mattress. It's a perfect match, or imperfect, depending on how you look at it. I glance at Charlie and her eyes drift away, almost as if she doesn't want to know whether or not the handprint belongs to me. The fact that it's mine only adds to the questions. We had so many questions built up at this point. It feels as though the pill is about to collapse and bury us in everything but answers. It's probably my own blood, I say to her. Or maybe I say it to myself. I try to dismiss whatever doubts I know are developing in her head. I could have fallen outside last night. I feel like I'm making excuses for someone who isn't me. I feel like I'm making excuses for a friend of mine in this Sila guys. Someone who definitely isn't me. Where were you last night? It's not a real question, just something we are both thinking. I pull at the top sheet and comforter and spread them out over the bed to hide the mess, the evidence, the clues, whatever it is. I just want to cover it up. What does this mean? She asked, turning to face me. She is holding a sheet of paper. I walk to her and take it out of her hands. It looks like it's been folded and unfolded so many times. There is a small worn hole forming in the very center of it. The sentence across the page reads, "Never stop, never forget." I drop the sheet of paper on the desk, wanting it out of my hands. The paper feels like evidence too. I don't want to touch it. I don't know what it means. I need water. It's the only thing I remember the taste of. Maybe because water has no taste. Did you write it? She demands. How would I know? I don't like the tone in my voice. I sound aggravated. I don't want her to think I'm aggravated with her. She turns and walks swiftly to her backpack. She digs around inside and pulls out, then walks back to me, shoving it into my hand. Copy it. She is bossy. I look down at the pen rolling in between my fingers. I run my thumb across the embossed words printed down the side of it. Windward Nash Financial Group. See if your handwriting matches, she says. She flips the page over to the blank side and pushes it toward me. I catch her eyes, fall into them a little, but then I'm angry. I hate that she thinks of this stuff first. I hold the pen in my right hand. It doesn't feel comfortable. I switch the pen on to my left hand and it fits better. I'm a lefty. I write the words from memory, and after she gets a good look at my handwriting, I flip the page back over. The handwriting is different. Mine is sharp, concise. The other is loose and incoherent. She takes the pen and rewrites the words. It's a perfect match. We both stare quietly on the paper, unsure if it even means anything. It could mean nothing. It could mean everything. The dirt on my sheets could mean everything. The blood smeared handprint could mean everything. The fact that we can remember basic things but not people mean everything. The clothes I'm wearing, the colors of her nail polish, the camera on my desk, the photos on the wall, the clock above the door, the half empty glass of water on the desk. I'm turning, talking it all in. It could all mean everything, or it could all mean absolutely nothing. I don't know what to catalog in my mind and what to ignore. Maybe if I just fall asleep, I will wake up tomorrow and be completely normal again. I'm hungry. She's watching me. Strands of hair stand between me and the full view of her face. She's beautiful, but in a shameful way. One I'm not sure I'm supposed to appreciate.